I really, really love the Cross City Trail. It serves as sort of like a constant in my life, a place of solace. I started running about 2 years ago, and ever since then, I've probably run on the trail about 3 or 4 times a week. And so it's just this place that I get to spend a lot of time by myself. I get to spend time in nature. It's often really quiet. Yeah, this trail has just meant a lot to me. Yeah, regardless of like if you're old, if you're young, if you're like going through a hard time, or if life is great, you can like get outside, get some exercise, and spend some time in nature. And that's like what this trail has been for me. And I can kind of see it with other people too, just observing.
Well, it sounds like that's the theme, is what the trail has meant to you. You said something that resonated with me, and that is that whether you're young or you're old, or, that trail means something, intrinsic value, to whoever and however they use it. You're ahead of your time if you're appreciating the trail the way you do. And I worked with an elected official years ago, Carolyn Justice, and she said she felt like our role in government was to plant a tree that someone in the future will enjoy the shade. And that's what the Cross City Trail is, just an example of that from my perspective.
I would have frequent interactions with some of the neighbors, and some of them were very vocal. And there was a gentleman who was pretty vocal about his skepticism about the need for the trail and how the trail might negatively impact the neighborhood and perhaps make the neighborhood less safe. He and I actually formed a good relationship. He was always respectful in his opposition, but I had to invest a lot of time. And after the project was complete and people were using the trail, I ran into him one day in the neighborhood, and he said, "You know what? This has been the greatest thing for this neighborhood because I've talked to some neighbors that I've never talked to before because I saw them out on the trail and we passed each other on the trail." And so there was a social connection made in that neighborhood among some of the neighbors that hadn't previously existed because the trail went through there.
It's intriguing to me that there were people out there at a time when the trail didn't exist yet and they didn't want it to exist. They were worried about crime or safety. And it's funny because I have had my bike stolen actually, and from what I assume is from a passerby on the trail. My house is right next to the trail, and our fence line goes up right next to the pavement of the trail. And my bike was sitting unlocked one day, and the next day it was not there. And my assumption is someone was walking by and saw my bike and took it. But I don't wish that I had my bike back and the trail wasn't there. I would sacrifice my bike to have access to that trail. This year I've run almost 600 miles total, and I'd say almost all 600 of them have been on the Cross City Trail. It's a place where I train, where I push myself. It's a place where I pass by friends on a run and maybe increase my pace just a little bit because they make me smile. It's a place where I can clear my head after a long day of school and work. It starts with me putting my shoes on in my room. Can't even see the trail yet. Next, I warm up right next to the trail, do some leg swings, front, back, side to side. Then I do some dynamic stretches, move my body in ways that I might on a run. And then off I go. Sometimes it's 2 miles, other times it's 4, sometimes it's as much as 13 or 20. But even those 20-mile runs that are, 3 hours long, even those feel short. Feels like a time warp when I step out there. It's like I hit the flow state, and sometimes all I can hear is my breath and the sound of my feet hitting the pavement. Other times, I got music blasting in my ears, and I can't hear anything else but that music. And I'm just going, pushing my body as hard as I can. I pass by bikers, other runners, people going for walks. It's a humanizing experience. When I leave the trail, I feel more human. I get to enjoy the shade, and it makes me more inclined to plant another tree so that others can enjoy it too.